First of all, you're watching YouTube, so you owe it to yourself to find this channel called Cars and Cameras, and check out their mini bike series. They're taking these 5 mini bikes and they're juicing them up with big engines, and they're going to go on a Rocky Mountain expedition with mini bikes. It doesn't get better than that. Second, part 2, my musical experience. My first festival out of 4 I'm doing this summer. Of course, on the ride up there, that long drive, you know, the nerves got me and I forgot everything I knew. But as soon as I got on stage, you know, I remembered it, and it was a blast. It was so much fun. It does underscore, however, the necessity of having an electrified instrument. Because if you're not using a microphone you're accustomed to, and a different sound guy, you have no idea, you know, what's going on as far as volume. So electric from now on. Electric. So I don't need to worry about that. Just plug it in, and there's going to be no issue of being a little too far away from the microphone. Turbo Pup. Look up Cars and Cameras, but also look up Turbo Pup. They followed us, and it's a great duo. A couple of brothers, violin and the guitar, amazing singing, amazing musicality. It was good. It was a good experience. On the bows, common question I am asked is, how many tendons do I need to pound to back a bow? This could be considered about average width for a long bow. You know, it might be a little narrower than some, but you know, at 1 inch and I think 3/8 or 5/16 or something like that at the widest part, it's kind of in the ballpark. It's variable. How many tendons do you need? Depends on the length of the tendons and how many tendons you want to put on the bow. I'm sorry, but it's just that, like, simple. Do you want to just have a simple single layer that allows you to see through the separations the wood? That would certainly keep that bow back from breaking. You don't need to have a lot of sinew on the bow to keep from breaking, because this stuff is strong. It's like steel. Deer legs are made out of steel. I just proved it. I did my research. So at the basic level, I would just put this on a table that's long enough, and then just take tendons, 1, 2, and it go 3 beyond half of the handle. So, you know, 6 tendons would work with this bow. It wouldn't be the thickest, but 6 would work on this bow, just by taking them and just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On this bow, it would probably take 7 or 8. However, I'm going to pound 10. The time to pound tendons is not while you're sinew backing and your fingers are glued together. So always have more than you need. If this was going to be a heavier bow, and I wanted to really add the oomph from a lot of sinew backing, I would have, well, I'd start out with very small bundles, edge bundles I would call them. My first attack on this bow would be just edging it, so it goes over to, in this case, down to that first growth ring change on both sides. I'm fresh, I'm just starting out. I can do that. I can concentrate good enough to put the edge on. And then I would follow it up with my pattern. I will have 5 side-by-side courses. Let's call them courses. 5, a center one, and then 2 on either side. I would lay my 5 courses on here, not worrying about going over the tips neatly at this point. You know, I could stop even a little before the tips, because I'm going to do some more layers. I would wait. I would wait till it changes color a little bit, not until it dries all the way, not 3 days later, but wait a couple hours and it'll change color. And so I know when I lay down the first bundle on my second layer, I know where it stops. Otherwise, if you just do it in one thing, you have to have like twisty ties or a barbecue skewer or something to mark where the end of that last one you did. And remembering your pattern. So you can keep track of it. But the easiest is just let it dry a little bit, change color. When you add new sinew, you know where you stopped and started. So I would do 1 layer, side by side, including the edge. Layer 2, edge to edge. Layer 3, breaking this into quarters, widthwise. The edge, and then a quarter, then a half, and then 3/4. I would do a 50% right width right down the middle, and then hump it. I want to hump it. So it, so it's crowned. Now, fancy stuff. I'm looking at this bow, and I could easily recurve it. and I've done this with Osage bows, heavy bows. By recurving it, I'd add weight, and I don't want to do that. I would recurve it. Then I would do those cuts, almost going through one and then two, taking out a little triangle so then I can steam that tip just over a kettle, steam kettle, and bend it up. Bent tab tips. I would have my Cupid bow, bent tab tips. Sinew back it. And those bent tab tips are incredibly strong when the sinew goes over them. I would, when it dries, center handle wraps, you know, sinew around the handle. I would do a mid-limb wrap, tip wrap. Now I would sand underneath the tip wrap because I'm going to follow that up. I want that to be really smooth because I'm going to follow it up with rawhide. I typically back with whitetail leg tendons. You pound them, they're fluffy, they have a certain look to them. You can tell the difference between, if you're a connoisseur of sinew, you can tell the difference between elk backing, whitetail backing. I would use backstrap tendons, prepared in a different way, not by pounding, either combing them with a steel brush that you make, steel whatever bristled brush you make to comb them out and get the sheathing off, or just take them over at edge of a counter and do this. Not pounded, and so they're going to be more translucent. I would take that bow that's got the wrap, backstrap sinew because I like the difference in look, and then do an X wrap, and that'll really keep that backing supported. Okay, on the middle limb I would take rattlesnake scraps because I have got rattlesnake skin scraps all over. Just over the middle limb wrap, just little rattlesnake skin wraps here, and then rattlesnake right here at the end of the wrapping, over the end of the handle wrapping. So you got that. You've got your X wraps, and then for the tip, I soak that rawhide. I sand it. I dry it, you know, a little drying frame so it dries nice and flat. Sand it so it's almost sanded through, very thin, almost like paper. Soak it in a heavier hide glue solution than I do for rawhide backing. I want that stuff to be really super sticky. Got to keep it warm because it's thicker. It would gel at room temperature, but yet you soak that rawhide in. You take it out, you wring it out just with your fingers. You don't wipe it off with a towel or anything because you want it damp. Damp enough to reinvigorate that hide glue on that wrap right there. Put it over that, trim it. I trim it after it's soaked because it stretches and you don't have a true idea of how big it's going to be. Wrap it with string, just 100%. You don't want to see any of that rawhide on there. But keep it open where the string is going to go. Then I would string it. Not brace it, but just string it, and then block up the handle with something, a wooden block, so there's enough pressure on that string to force it into the wood there, so you're not going to get any shrinking and air gaps in there. That string will just stretch it and jam it in there. And then let it dry and you're good. You've got the most amazing Cupid. It's not a gullwing anymore. It goes into Cupid with bent tab tips, rattlesnake accents, backstrap, sinew X pattern there. And I have, how many do I have floating around there? I probably have about 20 to 30 of those that I've made over time floating around. One is hanging up behind in a historic tavern where Lewis and Clark drank pints of ale and discussed their trip. And behind the bar, this historic bar, I think it's in St. Louis, is one of my bows up there. A guy bought it off of eBay. So that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Got to pound some tendons. Got to eat some chili. Nothing goes better with pounding tendons than chili, I'll tell you. And then before I sinew back this, I am going to round this. I'm going to reduce the weight by rounding it. I'm not going to monkey with the belly because I don't want to make it look inauthentic. But I'm going to round this and it'll reduce the weight a little bit. Have a good one. Pound your tendons.